Ladies and gentlemen, that's who we love and that's who we serve. Welcome to the Intervision FM universe. Today is Tuesday, January 3rd, 2023. Holy moly. Can't believe it's already a new year, folks. Happy New Year. If you missed us yesterday, we went ahead and we broadcasted a little show like we do every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 9 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. That's 1600 Universal Standard Time. So welcome. We're going to talk a little bit about liars, cheats, and thieves, and business people, and we're going to talk about the Bible, and it's going to be a whole lot of fun. You got to stay with us. Got Johnnie J in the house, president and station manager. Intervision FM.
This is the Godfather, Soul James Brown. I tell you, this business is on. My man is on. Check him out. This is the Godfather, Soul James Brown saying, stay with it and hit it. Okay, thank you very
much. Okay, that's fantastic. Thank you, everybody.
Oh my God.
Oh man, yes.
How was your day yesterday? It was a eventful, fun-filled day for a lot of folks. Getting back to work.
You know what happened yesterday?
What's that?
When I was 22, I was taking this judo class, and they taught you how to fall and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I always kept that in mind because they said, if you ever slipped and fall, this is what you do. Mm-hmm. You slap the ground and stuff like that. So I went to the supermarket yesterday to pick up some veggies and stuff like that. Because I'm doing this juicing thing. I'm doing it's been 5 days so far, nothing but juice and water. Okay, green juice and stuff. And so I'm walking. So I go one way and then I come back the other way, which I won't do that again. And I'm in the street, and all of a sudden, my feet go up, and I go down. But I remember slap the ground. Boom. Right, with the bags in my hands, like that, and no broken bones, nothing like that. So I got up, and then when you something like that, you kind of disoriented.
Oh, yeah.
And then this other guy came by and he said, "Hey, be careful out there." I said, "I've already been there and done that."
I remember a couple of years ago, Johnny, when I broke my ribs, and
oh yeah, you did, like in the Springs, right?
Yeah, I was living in Colorado Springs. It was February 7th, as a matter of fact. I remember the day well. I was coming back from a dental appointment, and I hit a sheet of black ice, and my feet went straight out from under me. And you're absolutely right. If you tuck your chin into your chest, so that your shoulders and your lats take the brunt of the fall if you're falling backwards, and you slap the ground like you're talking about, why it does tend to distribute the body weight more and lessen the chance of getting broken bones. Now, of course, it doesn't always work. And by golly, if you're a skinny guy like I am, you're going to break. So that's just all there is.
Okay. And my wife, before she says, "Be careful," I said, "Get out of here. I'm Johnny." And so I will. It's just something about just recently, or maybe it's always been. I've noticed that they haven't been consistent with shoveling the sidewalk. Now, okay, like King Supers, they do it well, and our apartment complex does it well. And then when you go around the corner to this little bungalow, a low rent bungalow, and I guess they think, well, since it's not really ours, we don't have to get out there and do anything, and they don't do anything. And it's just been that way for the longest. And then they had one manager that he did do something, but then he's gone, and so it went back to the same old status quo. So for blind people, and there's also another trick I use. It's like when I'm walking on somewhat slippery, if I'm about to slip, I'll do a kick back on my hind legs, like a kick back, and that'll stop the the continuation of that. But like I said, yesterday, I wasn't even thinking about that as I was, crossing the street and getting and trying to make sure I get to the right place to, get to my place. Because I don't know, it was just crazy.
Speaking on snow shoveling and getting that important task done, it's not only safe for those that are sighted or those that are blind or otherwise disabled, it also does present a modicum of respect for your neighborhood, your neighbors, that kind of thing. So it's interesting to see that, it doesn't always, of course, like you're saying with King Supers and other parking lots, this is pretty much mandated so that they don't get sued, I suppose, that they get there and get it done. A lot of folks just do it out of act of love. I remember we were going to shovel a while back, and one of our neighbors jumped out there and already did it for us. So it's really cool. So, I guess do what you can to help out your neighbor and your fellow mate, as it were. And, just respect the world that we have.
I remember when I was a kid, I don't know if you did you come from a large family or a small family?
Oh, I have a pretty large family.
Okay. So my mother and my dad, because my brothers were like 8 and 10 years older than me. Mm-hmm. And she would always say, okay, you guys, I want you to shovel off our sidewalk and I want you to go around the neighborhood and make some money.
Right.
Right. And so they would go off and they would shovel ours, and then they would go out and knock on the neighbor door and it was like elderly people and stuff like that. And ask them if they wanted to shovel. And I don't know if they gave them an option, if you want to pay us or not or whatever, but, they came back, with a little bit of change.
Right.
So did you have the kind of a similar thing where, they told you the older siblings, or if you were, I don't know if you were the oldest one or the youngest one, to go make some money?
Well, I don't want to make our YouTube benevolent overlords at YouTube angry at me, but my mom kind of looked at things a little bit differently. She understood the value of work and she understood the value of money, but she also understood greatly the value of respect and free labor. And so therefore, children were a source of labor, which was unpaid. We'll put it that way. That way we won't trigger the benevolent YouTube by using words like slave and things like that. Oh, did I say?
Wow.
But she believed in, get out there, help your friends and neighbors, get out there and shovel. But Mom, I'm a blind guy. How do I shovel adequately? Well, you'll have to figure it out, son. You'll have to use your cane. It might take longer, because that was my big argument, but it'll take a long time. It'll take longer, but you'll get the job done, and you'll learn respect for your neighbors and your elders, especially. And so, that kind of thing it did. I don't know. There's something to be said for making a little bit of money here and there. There's nothing wrong with making money and finding a niche like you're shoveling or you're clearing off of the walks and that kind of thing for the elderly. But oftentimes there's something to be said for just doing it because it needs to be done. They can't get it done for themselves. And money is tight these days. So it's kind of hard for me anyway to just sit there and, stand there with my hand out. Can I have some? Can I have some? No, I'd much rather just do with what I have, because I've been blessed pretty richly with that, throughout my life. And so I just want to get back with the time that I've got left here on this planet.
One time I was standing on a bus stop. I told my daughter this. I was laughing about this. I was standing on a bus stop and I was drinking some water, in a paper cup, whatever. And I finished it and I was just standing there waiting for the bus. And somebody came along and they put a $5 bill in my cup. I said, what? I said, is that stereotype still around about if a blind person is out there? Because I know these guys out there on the mall. There's one guy that I don't know. I don't think he has any legs. And so in the wintertime, he'll be out there in a Santa Claus suit. And in his wheelchair with his cup and stuff like that. And I think he's about the only one and then of course the fully sighted, able-bodied, fitter than you or me, young guys will be out there doing the same thing. And that just blows my mind when they ask me, and my wife always gets somebody said, because I'm always blunt. I says, there's a job post where you can make $18 an hour over there at Target. Go get that dollar from them. And I'm thinking like, get out of my face. And then this is sort of getting out the subject a little bit. Well, it's unsubject, but a little bit. So I guess they have a program here in Denver, Colorado. Well, if you used to be homeless, or you're like, if you're homeless or something like that, the city and county will offer you a job working on washing down the streets, because homeless people, they piss wherever they want to piss.
Oh,
and
yeah.
And sometimes in the alleyway, and you go by a certain alleyway down on California Street that it must be the toilet of the homeless.
The favorite place to go. Yeah, you'll
Right.
recognize that smell a couple of blocks away.
Yeah. So they have this thing where they'll say, "Hey, we'll help you get off the drugs, help you, get find an apartment or whatever, but we want you to work for us, the city and county of Denver, cleaning up the street." And so they have this program where they help wean you off the drugs, get you a voucher for a place. Then you have to work so you can pay your own way and pay your rent. And I think they said like 65 people are there, but I said, and it's not something that they force you to do. This has to be totally your will to do it. And I thought that was a good program, but it won't help everybody, because there's just people who just want to live off the fat of the land and think that panhandling is the way to go. But for those who say, "Hey, I'm here, but I don't want to stay here," it's a good
awesome
program.
Programs like that, because oftentimes we will find ourselves in a situation, whether we make $250,000 a year or $2 a year, where we are one paycheck away from losing everything. And really the big thing that gives us hope every morning is our God. I mean, that's who we love, that's who we serve, and that's how we open the show. And it's not just words that we say during the day or during the evening. That service to our Lord is paramount in what we want to try to do. Now, are we perfect? No, we fall a lot. We don't ever make the mark. We always fall short of the glory of God, but that doesn't stop us from getting up and keep doing and serving, and making our fellow human being the focus, putting others first, that kind of thing.
That's very true. That's very true. Oh, I just stopped sharing. I just did that. And I was just, we're going to have, it used to be called Father Woody. And I talked to a lady a long time ago and said I want to have her on the show because she has this program that I used to work by this place. And I would just go because I just thought it was like a cool vibe. And they would just, feed people at lunchtime, and they provided showers, clothing, acupuncture. I took advantage of that, acupuncture on certain days. And if you didn't have an ID or you needed an address, they would help you get an ID and all that kind of stuff as well. And I guess they had a place where if you were homeless, they had shelters for women and for guys. And then I guess they have generated so much money, they got the next place next to them to open up an even bigger place.
Wow.
And Miss K, I want to give a shout out to Miss K. And it's not called Father Worthy's now. I don't remember the name of it because I didn't know I was going to be talking about it. But Miss K, whenever I would come in, I would tell the guy, "Can I get a plate with no meat?" And she will always know it's me. Oh, because she would fix me like either peanut butter and jelly, or she would, make sure that there's a lot of greens and salad on that, and or spaghetti or whatever. And she would, she would always hook me up. But I would just sit there and listen to some of the conversations, and everybody was very respectful. And if you got out of line, that these guys that were homeless, that were serving people, you were checked and said, hey, that's not going to happen here.
That's really cool. So they actually had respect for the place they worked. It was a good, honest place, a place doing, well, God's work, for lack of better terminology, serving folks and trying to provide the message of salvation through the walk out of that word, as opposed to, I don't know, just sitting there filling a seat and having a sermon preached to you. These guys were walking out that word by serving their fellow human being.
Oh yeah. And I just thought it was a cool atmosphere. I mean, it's like I've never been homeless before. This is really strange. My oldest daughter, she loves the wild side sometimes, and so she's did that couch surfing. But so I say, hey, that's your choice, because it is a choice, because she has family down here and stuff like that. If that's your deal, do what you do. But one time I was sitting there and these girls, they were talking about, oh, my dad won't let me go to his house anymore. And I thought, I agree that if you probably say like, okay, this is happening too much. What is causing this? If it's addiction to drugs, you're gonna have to figure this out. And then he says, I love you, daughter. He probably, I don't know what he said, but he probably said, I love you, daughter, but you can't come back here anymore because this is ridiculous. And these are like young women, like they were like, I think they sound like they were like in their 20s.
Wow.
And like with a lot of people, they let the kids stay in the basement and stuff like that. And my mother even offered that to me when I was 21 years old. But then I bought a plane ticket with the money that she saved up for me. She had me paying rent. And then at the end of the time, when I graduated, she gave me the money back. And so I took that money, bought a ticket to LA. And I called her, I said, hey, Mom, I'm in LA. But her dream was she bought this camper, and she said, me and Johnny, we're just going to go fishing and hang out, and he can stay in the basement. But she didn't know that Johnny had other plans.
Funny, because I need a vacation for my vacation. A good would be a good thing. And, it's interesting because you started a school that teaches blind and otherwise disabled, whether they're physically disabled or financially challenged, veterans, all kinds. So you're trying to hit all these kinds of folks, because obviously the 21st century is well upon us. And a lot of folks, they've decided that maybe broadcasting might be their niche, getting online, doing an internet radio project like this one that you're doing here with us. So you've got a school, is that right? So
it's pretty much online. And we do have some locations if you want to be here physically. We do have a location, Denver Open Media. We have a mobile thing we could take over to like the Littleton School for the Blind. So we can be mobile, but it's pretty much right now online. And we're writing up grants to work with junior high and high school. And then we got to get this certain type of insurance if we get like any grants from the city and county of Denver, if we work with any youth. But we'll see where that goes. Because I feel, there's a lot of good talent out there. Out there, and they have something to say. And we want to develop like a blind news team where they report what's going on in their world and in their neighborhood or in their state or city, and become like an NPR of the blind community.
Fascinating. So if you want to learn more about that, how do they get?
They can go to either like InnervisionRecords.org. That's InnervisionRecords.org. Or they can email us at info@InnervisionFM.com. And if you don't hear from us within 24 hours, hit us back at that email again, or go to the website innervisionrecords.org and email us from there, because I think there's a different email there, just in case if the email box is full, because we will get back in touch with you within 24 hours. Also, if you're watching this, share, like, subscribe. If you haven't subscribed yet, we encourage you to share, like, and subscribe. And we want to thank our sponsors that have sponsored us in 2022, which is the Christian Brothers Moving Company, and let's see, Dr. Richard Damiano, Denver Foundation, the what's the other, the Any Meaning grant that just happened this year.
That's awesome. They have the Colorado Arts Relief Fund. There were a couple others. There's Wells Fargo.
Wells Fargo, and let me go down here.
If you want to become a sponsor, also you can find information on InnervisionRecords.org. Also, don't forget to sign up for the free monthly newsletter. It kind of gives folks a little sneak peek into what we're doing and how you can help. Yeah,
Denver's Art and Venues as well. That's one as well. Hey, so we're going to get into this topic in a minute, but we have a scripture called Ephesians 4. I think it's 24, it says 2:6, but I might be wrong with that. But it says, it starts out, therefore, each of you should put off falsehood and speak truthfully to his neighbor, because we are all one body. All right.
Wow.
And that has a lot to do with the topic. But as you understand, as you've heard just today, NFL had a young man, simple tackle, went down, got up, adjusted his helmet, and had a massive heart attack. 24 years old.
Wow.
And I don't know if people, I guess, we think like people will die when they get older, whatever. But for the last couple of years, there's been kind of like some experimental things that have been going on, and some just they used to have this thing called sudden infant death, but now they have this thing called do they have enough? Was it a name for it now?
Oh yeah, they tend to block people and ban people
who say that name.
Words like sudden, and then they put adult in the middle there, and then they put another word like deaths in there. They tend to and whine lately about that.
Okay, so until if he lives, when we pray for him to, because there's some people. There's one lady who was in a coma for like 3 years, and then she just came out. Boom. So we prayed that if a miracle will happen, that he'll come out of it and be able to join his family and join his career again and so forth. But it was kind of weird that they stopped the game.
Yeah.
Because other people have been injured on the field and took them away, but somehow this hit in a certain place where it took people to another level.
Yeah, they stopped the game for 15 minutes to see if they could. I don't know really why they stopped it. But yeah, I mean, this guy got hit in the neck or something, and it made him to where he stopped breathing. He stood up for a second and collapsed. It is interesting that they actually stopped and then canceled the game after 15 minutes. Couldn't decide what they wanted to do. Got this off the field and squared away. So we do reach out to his family. There's a lot of athletes out there that are succumbing to something strange that's been going on over the last couple of years. Can't really even put my finger on.
And if you want to read more details, WayneDupree.com, and he lists names of sports announcers and
Right.
sports official people in sports, young people. And he gave you that list. I was looking at it yesterday by accident. I said, wow, this is kind of interesting because, I'm not seeing this on any other sites, but WayneDupree.com. And you could check out other people that have similar instances like this happening to them, either after they finish a event or during the event.
Interestingly enough, there is also a site that's out there. And if you think a certain bunch of activities that have been going on over the last couple of years have affected you adversely, you can go to www.react19.org, and there might be some answers there that could be helpful for you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, don't forget, give us a thumbs up, share the show, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. This is Johnnie J and Alan C on Innervision FM. And okay, we're talking about, have you ever done business or worked for someone who was a liar? Now we know that right now in our White House is a lot of liars there, and so we're being led by the biggest liar of all, and we had a so-called doctor who the Twitter files is coming out this week. Elon Musk is going to show how much of a liar he was and is. But let's bring it back down to personal stories. So, Alex, you have a story?
I always do better. And sometimes in business, there are those that are employers that, they'll fudge a few numbers here and there. And nobody's ever going to find out, what's a few extra paper clips if we order them and they suddenly disappear from the office. Well, we can write those off on our taxes next year. I mean, by golly, the government does it to us, so why not do it to them, right? Well, wrong. That's absolutely wrong. And I'm here to tell you, to be honest and to be at a place where you surround yourselves with folks that are honest. That includes your employers. That includes those that do business in finance. That includes everything, because if you've got one bad apple in the bunch, it has the potential to rot the whole group of apples that you got in that bag. So, I think the big thing is, what sort of stories do you have? Leave a comment down below. We'll get to the comments, and we'll even feature some of them on a future show. But here's some of the stories that you've got. A story that I've got deals with a organization that I was working for, and they would do just that. They would pad their expenses by ordering too much of one thing and then going ahead and writing that back off on their taxes and still having the supply on hand so they wouldn't have to order it for the next year. But it's just small things like that lead to bigger things. Why suddenly you're moving some money, and you take that money and you go ahead and you spend that money, but that was investors' money. And suddenly you're in a pickle when the investors come back and want to make a run. For instance, what happened with the FTX scandal, which is still unfolding. And looks like this guy's not going to get too much in the way of trouble for his affairs.
He's under house arrest at his parents' house. It's this 30-year-old who stole millions of dollars. They said, hey, you can go to your parents' house and just stay there while we investigate this. How many? I can imagine if I stole any kind of money, they would say, "Oh, Johnny, it's all right. You can go home, go to your apartment, hang out with your wife, and we'll get back with you."
That's right. So, I mean, it starts small, folks, and it's just little. So, don't worry about it. Like Kid Rock was saying on a a satirical
Yes.
commercial he did. Oh, it's just this. Go ahead and steal from that company, or it's just that. Just go ahead and
Yeah.
they've got billions of dollars. No, folks, that's
Yeah.
not the way to be. I mean, honesty is always the best policy, and it doesn't always start with the employer top down. It starts with us when we start working for them. And so whenever you're in a situation, you work for a company where they're doing some shady practices and trying to cut some corners, you want to evaluate, is that a company for you to work for? If it is, if that's your bent to be like them and to kind of, cut those corners and do those shady business practices, there's plenty of place in the world for that. But I would submit that a greater calling is found directly in chapter 4 of Ephesians. Chapter 4 of Ephesians, starting with I therefore be prisoner of the Lord, you that you walk worthy of the vocation therewith that you are called. So basically, if you're called into a vocation, walk uprightly, walk worthily of that calling. And literally live that calling out. Yeah, I mean, it's important that we put our heart into our work, and where our heart is, that's where our treasure ends up being. And if we're seeking that kingdom of God first, anything that we want, whether it be that Mercedes or that whatever it is, I can't say that'll be added, but all of the spiritual things that we're looking for, the honesty, the uprightness, the truthfulness, the honor, these things will be added to us when we act accordingly out of our hearts.
Yeah. I was thinking about, I was going to play something here, but
Okay.
no, let me tell a story about something like that. Okay. A long time ago, I used to be like a DJ at this country western place, and Miss Carol, she was fantastic. I mean, she didn't pay us much, but every week that check would come on time and it would be there, and we really appreciate that. That we get paid on time. Then I said, but I asked her for a $2 raise, and she said no, she couldn't do that. So then I went downtown and applied for a job as a DJ down there, and they offered me $15 more than the $2 I was asking for her. So
Wow.
I leave that job, go to this job, sign the contract, DJ and stuff like DJ, and I was talking to this one lady because she used to go to this bar, and she was the door person, and she says, "Oh, Johnny, certain manager, he will not fill out do the paperwork, and sometimes he'll pay us a week late, 2 weeks late." And he did it to the dishwasher. Was a Hispanic guy, probably straight from Mexico or something like that, kind of guy. Did it to this girl, she's a white girl, and then he would do it to some bands. And to me, it's like you always, if somebody's working for you and you say you're going to pay the man. Don't play games. Don't say, well, I'm not going to pay you, or I will pay you, but I'm going to pay you later on. And that's integrity. And I don't think you could teach integrity. And this guy used to be a DJ. And I don't know if somebody did that to him as a DJ. So he said, oh, somebody did that to me, so I'm going to do it to these guys as well. But yeah, he did that. And it was another thing. I was another guy I worked with. In the music business, there's a lot of silliness that goes on.
Right.
See, I wasn't working with the guy, but I was working supposedly with him. He wanted to partner with me and stuff like that. And I had this policy: if we do a job, we do a club job, we agree to this much money and this much money and that. And so we put in a benefit, and he said he was gonna come and be the DJ, and he was gonna rap and stuff like that. And this restaurant owner said, "I'm gonna pay you so much money."
Right.
And so we're sitting there and we're waiting for this guy to rap because he says he's a rapper. And what he does is he sets up the music is playing, but the manager says, "I thought you were gonna go on the mic and rap, because that's why I paid you the money to go on the mic and rap." And he kept going back and forth. And this manager, because I was sitting with one of our managers, and she said, "Johnny, that manager's getting awfully mad at that guy."
Right.
And it was just one of the things, like, if they hire you for something, do what you say that you're gonna do. And this guy, he still hangs around sometimes. And my wife she's pushed a lot of these people out because I got the soft heart where I said, "Okay, I'll give you another chance. I'll give you another chance. I'll give you another chance." And she says, "No," she said, "We're gonna cut that off." And so it was just that was just kind of interesting. And like I said, ladies, tell your stories if you've ever did business with someone or worked for someone, because a lot of people, they call them where they do these other types of jobs. It's a phrase now that they have. You've heard it before, Alan. It's another. It's like
moonlighting.
Side jobs.
Hustles, yeah, side jobs.
Yeah, side hustles. Right. And so I have a feeling that, in the side hustles, if you did a side hustle and someone didn't provide something that they said they would provide, leave it in the comment line and do info@InnervisionFM.com, and who knows, we may bring you on the show and talk more about that. But it just seemed like here is the government. We are the people. We hire these politicians to go down and do a job, and like Santos, and Biden, Obama, Bush, and the list just goes on and on and on. They think it's okay to lie to people, and we're paying them this money, and we provide them a position where they became rich. I think ALC is getting some blowback now because in the beginning she was pretty and all that kind of stuff, and she got the job, and she couldn't even afford to rent a place there, but now she's making money, and now her constituents who have voted for her, they said, "Hey, we want to see some results.
Right.
We don't want to see you on TikTok or whatever." And, oh, by the way, that TikTok is now illegal for any government agency to have that on the phone, and they're going to try to enforce that to us regular people, but they have to tell us why it's nefarious, and why it's not like being on Facebook or Twitter or whatever like that. So the government's going to have to make the case where the American adults will understand, so they can take that off of their children's phones or whatever. But it's just very frustrating, and that's why I put the title there. It's just frustrating that they have a politician, that the one in New York, George Sanchez, to lie to people and tell him he's something that he's not, and then try to make excuses, and for him to just justify his lying and stuff like that.
So we've established here that the certain character that you want to look for, whether you're an employer or whether you're an employee, needs to be this way. It's found in verse 2, with all lowliness and meekness, with long suffering, forbearing one another in love. If you can find somebody, whether they're an employer or whether they're an employee, that approaches you with a soft spirit, lowly type spirit, doesn't mean a low spirit, but means that they think of themselves after they think of you. If they want to put you first, those are the folks that you want to hang out with. These are the folks that you want to keep company with. Those that are long suffering, that will go the long haul with you, and to make sure that you succeed. These folks also are bent on unity, so enduring to keep the unity of the spirit in one bond, in one bond of peace. There is one body and one spirit, even as ye are called in one hope of your calling. So that basically says there is a organization out there, a group of individuals made up that are bent on unifying everybody, whether they be black, white, red, brown, whatever the color of the skin, doesn't matter. It's the unity of belief that matters. The belief in one Lord, one faith, one baptism, all these things. Because eventually we're going to be all in all. Eventually everything will be, what do you say, return back to the one thing. I'm getting really heavy into description.
Yeah, but like I said, it's not nice when you partner with somebody and one is not is honest and one is not, and it does really cause a lot of conflicts. Well, not only with that relationship, but just it was this movie. Oh, I got to tell you, right? It was, I don't know if you've ever seen it. It was Sidney Poitier, and it was family, and the dad had died and left this insurance and left a lot of money. I mean, and they had a chance to move from that neighborhood to another neighborhood, and he was a chauffeur. Yeah, this is back in the 50s and so forth like that. And he got in business with these two other guys. He was going to open up a liquor store. And this one guy, his name was Willie. I could never forget this Willie, and I forgot the name of the other guy. And so they had this money, and so Willie was supposed to take the money and put the money. I'm not sure why he was supposed to put the money, either make the down payment or put the money in the bank. And they were supposed to meet each other the next day to do this. So then they Sidney Poitier character calls up the other guy and says, "Okay, have you seen Willie? We're supposed to meet here." And he says, No, I haven't seen Willie." "You haven't seen Willie? What do you mean you haven't seen Willie?" And it turned out that Willie took the money and was long gone. And I remember Sidney Poitier's character had to go back to the mother, and she said the story. "I remember your dad day after day getting up, doing this job, and we were putting together this money week after week, month after month, year after year." And in the movie, you hear Sidney Poitier's character saying, "Willie, Willie," and it was like that. They trusted each other, but this guy Willie, probably all in the back of his mind, he had it in the back of his mind that, hey, start a business. The hell with that. I'm going to take this money and have some fun.
Wow.
And it was a movie, I forgot. I don't know if it was A Raisin in the Sun, or it was one of those old like black and white movies with when Sidney Poitier was really young. It was like, I think it maybe came out either in the 60s or late 50s or something like that. But I thought about that and how many times that scenario is replayed over and over. And it's almost like what Ecclesiastes says, is nothing new under the sun. And
That's
there's
right.
always going to be those people, and you don't know how to sometimes figure out who those people are. Maybe there is indications that person is not as trustworthy, and maybe you shouldn't put that money in that person's hands because they'll do something stupid. But it was like, you got to beware. Got to beware, because I've done some silly things trusting people, and the internet, especially before the internet, and now that the internet is here, that they come after you. They'll contact a bunch of people, and I don't know why. For the most part, it's people from Nigeria, from other countries. It seems that they're Americans too, but just the ones I've run across have been from like other countries. And I had this one guy. I've been talking to him for years, and I'm sorry, I got into a long story. I've been talking to him for years, and I call him a cowboy, and he's from, I think it's somewhere in Africa or something. And he keeps telling me, I think since 2010, and this is, once again, sometimes I'm too patient. And he said he's gonna put together this album. He said, "But Johnny, can you finance the album? Can Innervision finance the album?" I said, not really. Put together the stuff, and we'll put it. We can put it out there.
Right.
We'll do that. So he calls me last month, and he says, I said, "Hey, how you doing, cowboy?" He said, "Oh, not very good, man." And I said, "Well, what happened?" He said, "Well, I was driving down the hill, and the car lost control, and I broke. I forgot what it was. Did he break both arms, or did he break a leg?"
Wow.
And at first I said, "Wow, man, I hope you." He said, "Yeah, man, I've been in the hospital," and I said, "Well, what happened to your wife? They all left me, man." And which I can see that sometimes that happens. But he says, "Johnny, could you help me out with $50 or $100?" I'm thinking like, what? And then he said, "Yeah, I'll give you my bank number and just deposit the money in my bank." And I'm thinking like, how are you calling me now? I don't know if he said he had 2 broken arms or what. And he said, "Oh, I'm using somebody else's phone or something like that." And I'm thinking to myself, well, can't that person that you're using the phone? I don't know, man. These stories people come up with.
So now would be a bad time to say, if you want to donate, join us at PayPal.me/InnervisionEver. Yeah, now would be a bad time to do that.
No, it'll be a good time because we're totally transparent. We're registered with the Secretary of State.
That's right.
We're in good standings with the state of Colorado, and they don't do that if you go around cheating donors. So if you support Innervision, we will send you a tax receipt at the end of the year.
That's right.
And like I said, you can go to Colorado State, Secretary of State, look up Innervision. We're listed, and we are in good standings with the state of Colorado.
That's right. That's right. Johnny is absolutely transparent. I've known him since, 1991, I guess. And we went to college together. And he's actually the first blind film producer in Colorado that we know of. I mean, there might have been others, but if there are, they haven't called us to challenge the claim. So,
yes.
As far as I know, Johnny's the first blind radio and film producer since 1991. There have been other radio producers and whatnot, but film producers, he's the first one.
Yep, I believe so. So I hold that record. I got to go around like Little Richard saying, "I'm the king of rock." You would always say, "I'm the king of rock and roll." All right, so I got to go around and say, I'm the king of blind TV producer filmers. And the movie's called Even Me, the movie. You can see it on YouTube there, and some funny stuff happened with the filming, but you can see that on some of our other shows as well. So anyway, hey, so I guess we're gonna call it a day. And it's been a fun show, and we'll be back tomorrow. You realize on the 5th, and now when President Trump did this, they said he was xenophobic when he said he put a ban on people from China coming into America. Well, now Biden, who I guess they say is not xenophobic, he's going to put a ban on anybody coming in from China who haven't tested negative for COVID. But of course, when
I also understand that Harris is requiring all the senators to get negative COVID tests if they want to do a photo op with her, which is interesting. I love your vice president, but I couldn't imagine why I'd ever want to do a photo op with her. So
I would avoid. I would just say, "Hey, I'm positive," just to avoid getting a picture with Harris.
That's funny. No, I tested positive. No, please don't take your picture with me.
Yeah.
I don't want to be associated.
I did something similar with Michael B. Hancock, where I just don't want to be associated. No, I got to stop because of what he did to the city of Denver. But I would avoid that. Take a picture with you, Harris. You may have been good back in the day when she was dating Governor Brown, and she got her first part-time job because of him making $70,000 a year, working 20 hours a week, because she was dating this married guy who was a governor who's said, okay, heels up here, so I'll give you a position. But what was then and what is now, it ain't gonna happen. So that's a little bit of history.
Folks, we got a good set of topics. Don't forget, we're on 10 different platforms.
Rumble, Innervision FM TV. We're back on Twitter. It's at Innervision FM, on Twitter, because somehow they disconnected my other one. So we're slowly building back up. So hello to Rumble and Twitter. We're back on finally.
All right,
man. We're gonna call it a day. We'll see you guys next time, and have a good day.